What? What exactly are you? Oh, hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I'm just sitting here with the Transformers Power of the Primes Wave 2 Rippersnapper. He's a member of Abominus, and it is always good to add some Decepticons to the team. Wow, I really kind of stumbled over that. This guy is a perfect example of sometimes less is more. I'll explain what I mean when we cover everything to do with this guy in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Why not, man? Stick around, have some fun. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, and me everywhere. And this, of course, is Rippersnapper. After the Combiner Wars line ended a couple of years ago, I was left feeling dissatisfied because I was not able to actually fill out my Decepticon Combiner ranks. I was still certainly lacking a couple of key combiners. A little while ago I talked about options that we have for Predaking, and of course we do have the Titan class version up and coming. There's a lot of different options there for different tastes. But if you have been collecting the Combiner Wars Combiners, then I bet you too noticed that Abominus was missing. And finally, we're starting to get that guy now. Case in point, Rippersnapper here. Now, all of these turn into weird things, and really 3 words kind of sum this guy up. Fantastic land fish. That's pretty much what he is. Now, I have added a couple of custom paint apps here because I wanted the robot mode to look as close to animation accuracy as possible, although the robot mode fresh out of package looks very close to the toy model. So that's kind of my own personal choice. You may not want to do the changes that I did. Because they're just touch-ups, I didn't really call this guy a custom Rippersnapper. It's really a Rippersnapper with a couple of custom apps. I dig them. I really dig them. But like I said, this is a case of less is more. There's certain liberties taken with some of the articulation, specifically one piece of articulation, and I understand why, because I think it has to do with the parts count for the construction of this guy, and I think it was a smart move to make, personally speaking. You see, at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to say, hey, he's not so exciting, it's just another Combiner figure, they're all kind of the same. Indeed they are, to a degree. They share what I like to call the same skeleton, the same basic engineering and logic behind their transformation, with tweaks here and there. But some of them succeed better than others, and this is a case of a guy that succeeds across the board. Anyway, enough of me babbling about him. Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at him. And so we move on to something that's a little bit more interesting to me. I don't know if it is to you, but it certainly is to me. I've been waiting on this guy, I feel like, for a long time. Largely because I've been really anxious to finally get Abominus to kind of round out my core 5 Decepticon combiners. Now, I understand that from other iterations of the franchise and the Japanese continuity that arguments could be made for characters such as Leo Kaiser and Dino King and Veronicon, I can't remember what he was called, but for the core 5 that appeared on the program, my real holdout has been Abominus, and this is the start of that guy with a few custom paint apps. Like I said, he's not really a custom per se, but just a few apps that I think at least help the robot mode look a little more animation accurate. I recently added Predaking to, or a version thereof, to my collection, and I looked at which one I particularly added from episodes 356 through 361. And that works for me and my collection, so I've been really anxious to finally get this guy. And this is the first limb of Abominus. He is one of the arms. This, of course, is Rippersnapper. We're going to start off, look at the box and his accessories, and then get into the figure himself. And here we have his packaging. Again, it's fine packaging. You know, we have nice artwork up here. You can see his little monster beast head thing peering up over his robot head. If we go to the back here, we see the product shots. It's really interesting that he's called like a land, I don't know, like a land assaulter or something along those lines. The guy's like a walking shark fish thing with arms. You would think he'd be aquatic, but he's not. Whatever. But overall, it's a box. I mean, it is exactly what it is. We have instructions. I guess they're all right. I mean, they're instructions. I haven't even opened these, and I don't think you really need to for this dude. As always, we have the ever-popular collector card. Again, nice artwork. It's Alpha Trions, and it says that he eats data that proves his inferiority. Talk about a guy that can't take constructive criticism. As with all these, we have the Prime Armor, which is really just a hand. And you could put a Prime Master in here. The other little piece here could be held in his hand as I guess an extra blaster. Or, of course, you could fit that back in there. It's all blue. You know, it is what it is. I would really kind of, where he's in armor, I really wish that this was sort of like a magenta fuchsia, because the hands of Abominus and his feet were that way. And as we'll see later on with Hunger, the feet are correctly colored. I wish that this hand was as well, but I get why it's done this way, so that it matches the figure. And though already attached in package, we have two of these. I guess they're blasters. They can, you know, stay as sort of antennas up over his shoulder. They do have a 5mm peg, and they could certainly be held in his hand. And of course, here we have Rippersnapper again in his full glory robot mode. You'll notice I only have one of these up here at the moment over his shoulder, just so I can show that you can, well, if I can do it, you can put those blasters in his hands if you're so inclined. But of course, they have ports up right here, and that's where they probably really belong. And I think the guy looks glorious for the most part. I mean, I mixed some gloss white and gray and sort of filled in the front of his combiner peg and his upper arms. It was a judgment call, and it would have been a judgment call when they were planning this guy, because his robot arms become the arms of the shark beast thing. And in the original animation, in robot mode, he had kind of those grayish biceps, and his entire front torso was gray. That whole front peg is blue by rights. So I wanted to sort of homage that. Now, in terms of the accuracy to the original figure, this guy is easily a 10. It's spot on. In terms of the animation, well, the animation in Season 3 was sort of wishy-washy anyway. That's why I didn't do too much in terms of making this guy accurate. I'm putting that in quotation marks. I wanted the robot mode to kind of match accuracy a little bit more. That's why I added the gray. But if you were to look at him, you know, when he's in his fish mode, then you would say now, because of what I did, these arms are a little bit off because they should be a solid blue. So it's kind of something I did because it suits my interest, but I could certainly see the argument for leaving it the way it was. Either way, you know it's Rippersnapper. The blue is probably brighter than it should be. It should be a darker blue, but I'm going to say that this is easily a 9. It's definitely Rippersnapper, no doubt about it. In terms of his prime armor, again, you can open that up, and on his chest we have a little slot there and a little peg on the prime armor. We could put that in his chest, and it covers the entire front of his torso and looks ridiculous, as it always does. So we're going to take that off and out of it and close that up. I've been waiting for a nice representation of Abominus and these guys for a while, so I'm pretty pleased for the most part with this guy. Strong start with a 9 for paint apps, or at least a 9 for accuracy. Articulation. He's a fine leg. He's a pretty great arm. Works quite well as an arm. We'll see in his land shark mode that he works pretty well there as well, and there's good articulation and even some nice paint apps there. And in robot mode, the head, it can go left and right, it can look up a bit, not really down, I guess ever so slightly. The shoulders go easily all the way around. We have 90 degrees at the elbow. Now, the elbow is on a ball hinge, so that's what gives us our bicep swivel, and his arms are a little more slight, so I guess they just didn't want to kind of give us the dedicated swivel there. I can sort of understand it, and I can accept this, and I think the reason it was done was to sort of save the parts count a little bit, because you were able to do the shoulder and bicep now all as one piece, which did allow something else. Wrist articulation. It's for the transformation, but hey, we have it and it works very well. The argument could be made that it'd be nice if these claws that are a different shade of blue, a painted brighter blue that are on his hand, it'd be nice if they could kind of fold up somehow or fold out of the way. I'm fine with them there. You know, I don't have a problem with it. It's something else he has as a melee type of weapon, and I'm cool with that. The arms can go way out, of course, to the side. We have legs that can do splits out that far. It's not stellar, but it's all right. Kick way forward and back. Thigh swivel. 90 degree at the knee. Sort of everything you'd expect on a deluxe class figure. Everything holds together pretty nicely. I dig the guy. I'm going to say that his articulation, again, is a 9. So far the guy's getting a 9. It's a pretty great update. What about his, size comparisons? Well, here he is with a wave made of his, that being Blackwing, who I looked at in episode 392, I do believe. Here he is with another wave mate, that being deluxe class Moonracer. She looks fine with them. I looked at her in episode 393. And really all that leaves is the transformation. And because I sort of want to get him in the, I guess the mode that we want to leave him in for when we finally do look at Abominus combined, I'm actually going to go to his sort of beast mode from here, and then we will go to leg and then back to arm. So to do this guy, it's not very hard, which is, in my opinion, good. I like that. Oh, I will note one thing. Fresh out of package, his tail isn't really where it belongs. You should be able to fold the tail up so that it actually fills in this section of the leg all the way. Okay, so begin by turning the dude at the waist. You can even pick off the head from the back. There are 2 little notches back here that go into 2 little slots. It doesn't hold super securely, at least not on mine. Naturally, at this point, we will combine our Wars' legs, as we have done ever so many times. Actually, before we combine our Wars' legs, let's angle that tail out so that we have that out to deal with. Then we can peg the legs and the tail together. Like all of that. Now we can combine our Wars these. So you open them up, you bring the legs down, and you close these back up again, and of course tab them into each other if they came undone. Make sure you have all of that down. And there you go. The interesting part here to note is that you have to turn his legs around. Actually, when I looked at Blackwing, I forgot that it was this guy whose legs turn around, and I fumbled over a part of Blackwing and started to turn his legs around. But no, it's Rippersnapper's. The tail piece, that just comes out on the back. The legs, they kind of unpeg. There's a little peg there, and it goes into the pinhole or screw hole. I think it's a pin right there, and that sort of holds it in place loosely. We straighten out the leg, same over here, and we straighten out the leg. You take his wrists and you turn them so that the claw pieces are up. Do that over here as well. And finally, you take that head that you detached and you bring it all the way up over his robot head. And when we do so, we have a couple of little pegs that tab in on the side of his shoulders. And this whole thing should come down and cover his face, basically, although you still sort of see his face there because the last bit is really to open the guy's mouth. Although you still see his eyes peering out in there. It's sort of weird, but the silver painted teeth are great. And in the end, in terms of his animal mode, there we have Rippersnapper. And I like this guy. Again, at this point now, we have slight inaccuracy because of what I painted, because now these entire arm sections should be blue, so it's up to you really. That being said, you still retain all of the same posability of the arms and the wrists and all of that. The jaw opens and closes. The tail, I guess, can move up and down. The legs can move out to the side that far, I suppose, if you want your walking fish to be able to do the splits. Oh, and I just popped that. They can go well forward. They can go, way back and around. I suppose you can say we have a knee, like a chicken leg type of knee. It's pretty posable for what it is. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with this Rippersnapper. No problems whatsoever. What about going to his leg mode? Well, that's pretty easy as well. For leg mode, we just fold these up on the sides. We put them back in. We take this piece and we fold it all the way around to the back. And now we have a little kind of peg hole down here where the foot would go in. We take the arms and turn them around and turn them around. We have a little peg on the inside of the forearm that goes into a little slot here on the side. Or should go into a little slot there on the side. We bring the head of this thing back and fold up the combiner peg. Angle it and take these two little notches and put them back into these two little slots right here. And I guess close his mouth if you want. And there he is. Basically as a leg. I don't think I quite have his arms tabbed in, but you get the idea. He's not supposed to be a leg, but he's a solid leg. There's certainly nothing wrong with that if you want to go this route with him. And last but not least, we're going to go to his arm mode, which is pretty easy from here. We just need to open up the legs and take that up so we can bring the legs all the way down. Again, you're just combiner warsing these as really you've always done. For anybody that knows that hinge and that sort of conversion. You do that, you take your combiner peg, you bring that down, you bring the head back into place where it would be as a robot. You turn him at the waist, you take this shark tail piece back up again, and you have that same slot down here. You have these arms, or legs, sorry, in on the side. We have the double elbow. We have his waist serves as the bicep swivel. It's everything that we've always sort of seen as a Combiner Wars arm. And finally, we take the hand piece, though I don't have the fingers out, and we put it into a position, I guess, Can I get the fingers out? Sometimes I find you got to really kind of work to get these fingers out. It's not worth it. You get the idea. This is going to be one of the arms of Abominus in combined mode. And, you know, besides for the articulation, I said, you know, your combiner peg also hinges up and down. As for the part I painted, that's not the part that slides in anyway, so it's fine that it's painted up there. No problem. It looks like there's a lot of kind of monster pieces on it. I mean, you have the legs on the side and you have these arms here, but like kind of having all of these bits and pieces and spiky bits I think really works for Abominus. Like, it makes him look more lumbering and primal, so to speak, and I totally dig it. I like this. It's a fine combiner limb. Some of them don't tend to stay stuck together well. This guy does really great. Really great. Actually, because of the way I have that, I guess I should turn the hand around, because here, we'll even put in these thumbs. There you go. I totally dig it. I just wish that the hand was more of a purpley fuchsia color. But yeah, I think it's a solid combiner entry. Maybe not the most exciting, but I think that he looks great. I think he's extremely functional in all modes, and to me, that's a success. Transformation 10. The guy's easily a 9.5 in terms of being both a robot, a land shark, you know, if you're cool with the land shark, and being both a leg and an arm. He's pretty effective at all of it. And here we are back once again. Of course, as you know by now, I have left this guy actually in his limb mode, which of course is an arm for Abominus, because when we see him again, he will be combined in that gestalt huge form. But regardless of what form you put him in, whether it's as his strange land shark thing with his gloriously silver teeth, as a robot which has really effective articulation for getting some nice dynamic poses. No, it's nothing spectacular, but everything works smoothly and it works well. He makes a great leg if you choose to use him for that. And of course, he makes a great arm. By the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but I do have another version of this guy I looked at in episode 203, and that's the Transformers Prime Legion class version. Now, I haven't shown him, obviously, you know at this point, but we will see that version next to this guy coming up another time a little bit later. I think he's awesome. Yes, simple, but he is easy to get between modes. He looks fantastic, and he really looks the part of the character that he's supposed to. And at the end of the day, I think all of that adds up to make something very successful. I don't know if you're in for Abominus, but I know having this guy in hand is a great start to that combiner. Anyway, let me know what you think about this dude. You know that I love to hear what you guys have to say. As always, I'm going to say thank you very much for giving me some of your very valuable time. Again, please hit that subscribe button. It is so very important. It helps me so much. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.